Hello and welcome back to A Splash of Paint, where it's time to join spellbinding professional artist Sharon Hurst as she conjures up another magical painting in part one of today's enchanting Try Your Hand At project.
Thank you for that, Matthew. Hello, we're back again. Today, let me introduce you to something a little bit different. I have a tiny black cat, and he's sitting next to a witch's cauldron, and here's the hat. For a teeny bit of humour, I've just added a cobweb on his ear, and here a cobweb from the witch's hat. And I'd really like to show you how to use salt, but in a directional way. We've all used salt flat, haven't we, and sprinkled it on our paintings, but here you can actually see the flow of the paint and flow of the water, and it should give us the idea of a cauldron spitting. I've drawn it out. This is 140-pound Bockingford, and I've masked it with this lovely thin blue masking fluid. And you see, that enables me to paint tiny little thin lines for my cobwebs, and we'll use them as well with the cat. I've gone all around the edges and just fluffed them so that he hasn't got a flat, straight edge. I want to come into this and paint thickly. Now, this is how I get my colour. So in my palette, I have Prussian blue and raw sienna sitting there ready to go. Here, just to confuse you, I'm going to turn my painting around. So let us just lift it up, turn it over, and you see in that way, now when I paint it, the water and the paint will be flowing down the page, and I should get the salt to do the same. Let us mix our colour. Here we have it, together, thick. Just enough water to make it malleable. If you imagine you're at home and you're painting your walls, I want this to be emulsion thickness. Look at this. Look at that. Yummy colour, thick colour. And this will give me a lovely dark background. Mix the two together. I'm not really seeing the sienna yet, so maybe it's over here. Nope. Mix it. Look, here we go. Up against the cat. Snug it round the cat, his little ears. I'm leaving the centre of the paper free at the moment. Lay the colour in. And now you see what I'd like to do. Clean the brush, get the colour out of it, and bring this down through here. Wet the area. With salt, you need to make sure that the paint is in suspension on the paper. Salt cannot take the colour out once the paper has absorbed the pigment. You're on a loser. As soon as that happens, forget it. So it needs to be sitting in suspension, and to do that, we need it to be a little wetter. Here we go with a tiny bit of quinacridone gold up by the cauldron, like that. And how about a touch of Scarlet Lake? This is a super colour. Vivid, bright, warm, hot colour. Look at that. So in here, whilst that's all working and running down the page, let us just come back up to here, and I want to just smudge this in next to the cauldron. Have a bit more colour. Trying to lighten it just a little, because where the cat's sitting, I want this to be paler down here. Clean my brush again, and now I'm going back to burnt umber and a teeny bit of Payne's grey. Look, there it is, that's what I'm after. And with that, I just like to come across here where they're all sitting. All right? Now, the cat and the cauldron are casting a little shadow. So let's go back to the Payne's grey and just drop some dark in here. All right? Just to seat them on the ground. We've got a few runs here. Again, not worried about that. Come in with a damp brush, not soaking, just a damp brush. Pull the colour through. Give yourself a smooth finish. Looks a mess at the moment, but trust me, it's all going to add to life's richness when we put the salt on this paper. I need to just smudge those edges here. I don't want these quite as hard as that. And now we go to the salt. And the key to this one is to dribble it from here. Just dribble it. Let it drop into the paint. And you have to be patient because it does take a little while to work. Good time to go and have a coffee if you're at home. Just have a break. But I want this all to look like spitting embers as they're rising up into the air and just taking the sparks with them. So I'm going to take a little break now, let this dry, and I'll be back later on in the programme to show you the results. See you then.
Thanks, Sharon. Plenty of bewitching tips as usual. We look forward to seeing more magical advice later on in today's programme. Now let's conjure up another practical project with popular SAA oil artist Marion Dutton as she demonstrates how to give your floral paintings a sparkling finishing touch.
So today I'm going to show you how to do a lovely dewdrop on this beautiful rose. No floral painting is quite complete without adding 1 or 2 dewdrops. So I'm using a mole stick to steady my hand, and I'm going into some titanium white. And I'm initially just going to get the sketch, the shape of what I want the dewdrop to be. I'm going to put 1 on the actual flower and 1 on this leaf at the bottom. Take away that excess paint, and then I'm just going to dry brush that in, blend that in to get a basic ghostly shape. Now the light in this painting is going to be coming from the right, so the sparkle on these dewdrops is going to be on the right. So I'm going to create a little bit of a reflective light as the light passes through. So back into some titanium white. So this is going to be the light as it's coming through the dewdrop. Place that on, wipe away the excess paint, and then I'll just blend out that top, still keeping that nice bright at the base. And we'll do the same with the one above. So this is as the light is passing through. And I'll just, again, blend that top part out. Now I'm going to clean the white off the brush, and I'm going to mix a slightly darker shade, which is of the rose colour, so that's red, and I'm going to add a little bit of sap green to that to create a bit of a darker colour. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow. Again, as the light's coming through, the shadow will be right underneath. Let's just darken that a little more. Wiping that excess, and I'll put another dark shadow underneath. I will blend that in a sec. If I get the shadow in place first. Wipe that brush away, and then very lightly just soften that shadow out. Now I'm going to clean the brush entirely. Make sure there's no, because I'm going back to some white, so make sure there's none of this dark colour on there. And then we're going to put the sparkle, the icing on the cake, plenty of white paint, and just touch that on. And the same on that side as well. And that is a very simple, straightforward way to do a dewdrop, but they really do finish off your floral paintings.
Thanks, Marion. Nice simple technique for adding a lovely little jewel to finish off your floral paintings. Why not try introducing your own sparkling brilliance to your own works of art? And show us how you get on by uploading examples of your work onto the SAA website. Simply visit saa.co.uk and look for the community tab for details. Okay, it's time to take a little break now, folks, but join us in part 3 when spellbinding professional artist Sharon Hurst returns to put the finishing touches to today's enchanting Try Your Hand At project. See you soon.